Hello and welcome to Gouge Football. Ryan and I are going to review some of the Premier League games that took place this weekend. Starting with Wolves Man City, Ryan. So Wolves, they got a deserved point, didn't they?
Mate, good game. We both said we thought Wolves would have a good season.
Yeah.
I mean, they did really well in the Championship, didn't they? Certainly invested in some star players.
Yeah.
But to play Man City in the form that they did, it was like watching two top four teams, wasn't it? You know, battled it out. You know, very good in the midfield area, wasn't they? You know, counter-attacking and pressing. No, I thought it was a really, really good performance.
Yeah, I was really impressed by Wolves. I have to say that game was my favourite of the season so far.
Oh, bold statement.
Well, it's his third game in, so it's not that big of a statement. But it was a really, really good game. I'm amazed there weren't more goals. It was 1-1, but it could have been easily been 3-3, and it wouldn't have surprised us at all. But
got to hand it to Wolves with their goal, haven't you?
We'll come on to that shortly. But yeah, no, I was really impressed by Wolves, like you say. They won the ball in the midfield area, in the middle of the park. Because a lot of teams, they try and either press City up high, or they sit really deep. You know, so when they do get the ball, they can't attack because they're so far near their goal. But they won the ball in the middle of the park, which is great. So therefore they could attack more. So they had a number of chances, didn't they? City, they played decent. They weren't at their fluent best, but they weren't terrible either. They created a number of chances, hit the woodwork, didn't they? A number of times. Aguero hit the post in the first half. Sterling hit a shot from like 25 yards.
What a fantastic save that was.
Brilliant
as well.
save by Rui Patricio. He took it onto the post. Well, I thought it'd be a good signing for him, and he's been fantastic for them so far. So he'd be a key player for them for the rest of the season. But yeah, Wolves have got to hand it to him. You know, they spent a lot of money and they won the league, won the championship. You know, convincingly. But even so, to come against Man City, the best team in the country by far, last season,
they look very strong.
It's a great effort. So yeah, I think they haven't won yet, Wolves, but I think, you know, I still think they have a great season. So I was really impressed by them, I have to say.
Yeah, definitely. And first of all, let's talk about the Wolves goal.
Yeah.
So obviously you heard my little pun there. Got to hand it to them. It kind of, you know, don't get me wrong, I thought Wolves deserved a goal.
Yeah.
You know, but it begs the question: why hasn't the Premier League got VAR yet?
Yeah, I think the Premier League just wanted more time for it to be used in their competitions. They used it occasionally in the Carabao Cup last season. It's been used at youth football, I think. You know, and like youth championships, like European championships. Obviously, it was used in the biggest tournament of all, the World Cup. So
if that's not a template to go by,
yeah,
then surely the Premier League should go, right, okay, it's going to come in. And if they don't do it this season, then they say, right, by next season it's in.
I think they should. I think for next season they should do. I think it might be unfair to bring it in just now, I think. But I think for next season, I think they should really consider it. But yeah, it was. I have to say, it was a good cross by João Moutinho, who had a very good game in the middle of the park alongside Ruben Neves. Great cross in, and look, it was a clear handball by Bowley, but it was only clear on the replay. Live, like on the, you know, when you see it on the telly.
I think he's got a head to it.
Looks like he got a head to it. And even the Man City defenders, no one really appealed for it. They were more appealing for offside, which he might have even been slightly offside at that moment. So, yeah, I mean, Wolves deserved to take the lead or get a goal, but that was a clear handball. And if VAR was in it, obviously would have been ruled out. But you know, they took the lead, and that's what you need. If you're like a team, like a small team, or like a team that's been promoted, like Wolves, you need to get the first goal, because City, they are likely to score. They very rarely don't score, do they? So to get the first goal is very important. But City, look, they're champions. They come back strong. Laporte with a bullet of a header, wasn't it, from Gundogan's free kick? So. And Jesus had a chance. He had a header straight out with Patricio. So they still had chances, City. although they weren't quite at their best. Like they were giving the ball away in midfield, like their combination 1-2s, and some weren't quite coming off at times. And even at the back, they were giving the ball away. Like Company gave it away a couple of times, so Wolves could spring counter-attacks on them. So I think how Wolves played might be a template for other teams as well, because it's very hard to do it how Liverpool did it at Anfield last season, where you press high from the front. If you haven't got those type of players, it's probably not worth doing that, because City will just pick you apart. But I don't think you should defend too deep either, because I saw that at the London Stadium when West Ham played City. We won the ball at the back and didn't know what to do with it. We just end up hoofing it long, and then we come back right at us. So I think how Wolves did it, where they kept their shape, Coutinho and Ruben Neves were holding their shape in the middle of the park, and when they were out of position, they got back in position very quickly, and they had other defenders to back them up as well. So winning the ball midfield in the middle of the park certainly helped Wolves, and that's hence why they could spring more attacks than we usually see against City. But yeah, I was really impressed by them.
Yeah, fantastic. So 1-1 for that game, and to get a draw against City, I mean, pat on the back.
Yeah,
100%.
No, it was deserved this way. It wasn't like they were clinging on, defending for the majority of their game. They really had a go as well. So it was a proper good game of football. You don't always see that, where both teams were having a go. Don't always see that. So it was a great game to watch.
Fantastic. And then it brings us to our teams, Arsenal v West Ham.
Yeah.
So on paper, if you'd look at the score, Arsenal 3, West Ham 1. As a gooner, I'll be looking at that going, God, we thrashed your ass.
Yeah.
But when you actually watch the game, Arsenal were quite lucky. You were quite unfortunate, really, to be fair.
Yeah, no, I'm a bit gutted. We lost, really. Shouldn't have lost that game at all. I wasn't at the game, but I listened to it on the radio, BBC London, and watched the highlights on Matchday as well. And judging by the coverage, and even on West Ham fan TV, like the fan cams afterwards, and Arsenal fan TV as well, like saying West Ham didn't deserve to lose. Arsenal 3-1, it flattered them, you have to say. And especially their second goal, the own goal by Job, was incredibly unlucky. For West Ham, incredibly lucky for Arsenal also. You could say
I wasn't going to argue with that.
you could say that bit of luck, but I'm just amazed West Ham didn't score more goals, Ryan. I have to say, a number of chances.
Well, you had some opportunities, and that was a good thing about West Ham, I think, is, okay, it's 3 defeats in a row now, but we were seeing, elements of Pellegrini's tactics coming into play.
Yeah.
He was showing positive football, but you just couldn't quite execute at the moment. You couldn't, where it mattered, you couldn't quite get it over the line. But it's showing signs now of, okay, we're stepping up now. There's good things to come, and I know Arsenal aren't a top 4 team anymore, but they are still a tough team to play.
Yeah.
So, but from an Arsenal perspective, I was happy to see that we finally got 3 points. Again, the back 4, the defence is a bit of a concern at the moment. We do need to look at that. But I've still got faith in Emery. I think we're starting to see that he's sticking to his guns at the moment. He's got a good attacking, mentality. With his kind of faults with his tactics. So I think good things are going to come for Arsenal. It's patience at the moment, and
of course.
And I'd like to believe that he will work on the defence, and he's certainly working on the defensive midfield areas. I mean, Guendouzi at the moment is looking incredible. He made a bit of a mistake which gave Felipe Anderson a chance, a counter attack, but that comes with experience, So no, I would still like to see Aubameyang and Lacazette start together. And obviously when Lacazette came on, he did look really good. And on the whole, I think Arsenal played well, but we were lucky. Our defence did sort of let us down. But then again, you could argue when Welbeck scored to make it 3-1, your defence was asleep at that point.
Yeah, I think West Ham was chasing the game at that point. But it's not a concern though, Ryan, about Arsenal's defence. You mentioned it earlier, but it was so wide open against West Ham. Who are, let's be facts, they're not a top 6 team, not a rival of yours, London rival, but like in terms of challenging for the European place, is not a rival at this stage, and yet conceded so many chances. And another day, West Ham could easily scored 3 or 4 goals. It wouldn't have flattered us at all. Surely that's a concern.
It is a concern, but you've got to look at. Again, it's the bigger picture. It goes back to giving Emery time as a manager. He's trying. It's like we said in the Arsenal West Ham preview video. Rome wasn't built in a day.
Yeah.
You know, Emery's come in. He's proved himself as a manager with the other clubs. You know, he's won trophies every season since 2014. You know, and good trophies as well.
Yeah.
His tactics do work, and we've seen, you know, Arsenal are technically improving with how they're going forward. But at the moment, you know, he can only work with the tools he's got.
Yeah.
You know, and lack of funds at the moment, and you need some more transfer windows. And yes, at the back, like I said, that is our concern at the moment. We're showing worrying signs at the back, but I believe that's something he will work on. You know, and he needs to focus on that. And obviously, we need a couple more additions at the back as well, and in the next transfer window, and hopefully that's what will happen. But I've got patience and trust in him. You know, but obviously, if in a year or you know we're still saying our defence, you know, is shocking, and then we'd have to. When we have one of these videos, my kind of response may be slightly different.
Yeah.
But at this stage, I've got no concerns for the bigger picture.
Yeah, I think Alan Shearer made a good point on Matchday in his analysis that, you know, Bellerin and Monreal will both go forward and both look to threat, and they did. Like, they combined for the first goal when Monreal scored. They were both up the pitch, and even for the own goal, again, they were both up the pitch. But defensively, they were leaving Mustafi and Socrates against West Ham's attack, and there was no support from midfield as well. So West Ham just counter-attacking at will, it seemed to be. So surely you've got to be a stage where
Have one back.
if Bellerin goes up, Monreal just tucks in, or if Monreal's up, Bellerin just tucks in, or one of the midfielders drops back and has you have 3 players sort of defending, as opposed to just leaving Socrates and Mustafi.
Yeah, this is where I agree with partly Jamie Carragher's points. You know, when we said on the Sky Sports video the other day, I think you do need to adapt to the club you're playing, and pressing forward with Monreal and Bellerin going forward. That's great sometimes. And if you're 1-0 up or 2-0 up and you want to kill the team, then all out attack. You know, it works well. But while the defence is rocky, and let's face it, the defence is rocky at the moment. They haven't got a clear concept that they're following. In my opinion, at the moment,
they were open against Chelsea. They're saying a new thing. They're open against Chelsea.
I think they need to hold back at the moment. I think stick to the basics. I think get the defence right. You know, get the confidence there. And unless you're 1-0 up, or you know you're at a point where you're comfortable against the team, stick to the old school approach where you got 4 at the back.
Yeah.
You know, that's what you want. But if you're confident, if you know your midfield's going to deliver, and you've got such a strong unit as a team, and you know your plan B, that if you are attacking, if you are Monreal and you're going forward, and you've got you know, everyone's in sync with each other, then do it. But at the moment, they're not in sync.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? So while you're not in sync, I don't think you should deviate to your position. But hey, only time will tell. And I think, looking at West Ham as well, time will tell. And I think with Pellegrini, I know they'll probably, from your perspective now, it's like 3 defeats in a row. But I still think you've got a great manager, and it's still going to click for West Ham.
Yeah, I was impressed by our combination play going forward. Look, the finishing, wasn't great. Only scored the 1 goal, but that will come, I think. I think it's only a matter of time, I think. Maybe not the next couple of games, but at some point during the season, we'll stick 3 or 4 past the team, and it will just be a convincing run of victories. I think it was good to see Felipe Anderson, play somewhat near his best. Hasn't been that way in his first couple of games, but he was in a more central role against Arsenal. We had Antonio and Snodgrass out wide, so Anderson was just behind Arnautovic, and he was a constant threat, it looked like. And he obviously set up the goal for Arnie to score for West Ham, so it was good to see him having a real impact on the game. I still would like to see a couple of changes though. I would like to see Yarmolenko play from the start. Hopefully we'll get to Wimbledon, get some minutes under. I think it's probably fitness issues rather than, Pellegrini preferring Snodgrass. I think Snodgrass done well. Obviously he was on loan at Aston Villa last season. He's done well to come back into the squad. I just don't think he's got that quite, final touch or final cross to deserve to start for West Ham. I think he's a good squad player, good to come off the bench, but I think in general, I think Yarmolenko should start over him. But that will come, I think, in the next couple of games, I think. I think our defence, look, it's another 3 goals conceded, but, I think the players we played, we should try and stick with them, I think. I would like to see Masuaku again further forward. He looked better, I think, against Arsenal, but his strengths are going forward. So hopefully Cresswell will play against Wimbledon, and he should start. He should be the starting left back, and it could be a case where behind Arnautovic you have Masuaku, Anderson, and Yarmolenko. I think that's a good 3 in behind Arnautovic. Because Antonio, he did okay against Arsenal, but again, I think he still needs to prove himself. And come off the bench and make an impact, really. I think Sanchez, by all accounts, he had a good game, Carlos Sanchez. I don't think he had the greatest spell at Aston Villa, but I think he's looked decent for us so far. So that might be the 2 in midfield, Wilshere and Sanchez going forward. Because, I think Mark Noble, I know he's our captain, but I think he struggles to get around the pitch nowadays, especially at the London Stadium. It's a big pitch, so it might be a case where if we play a 2 in midfield, he doesn't play. If we do play a 3 in midfield, then maybe he does play. But yeah, I think positive signs. Not panicking. We seem to be getting better each game we play. And you saw out Crystal Palace. I'm not compared to Crystal Palace from last season because they were woeful in the first 7 games, which they lost. But they finished 11th, didn't they? So we've got off to a ropey start, but there's still time for it. Still 35 games left. Still a lot of points to play with, and we're getting better. So Wolves, the next league game. On Saturday at home at the London Stadium. It's going to be a hard game, as we saw against City. Wolves play very well, but if we create the amount of chances that we did against Arsenal and we put a few more away, then I'd fancy us to get a result. But it's a shame we lost, but some positive signs.
Definitely, and Wolves will be a tough game for you. But like you say, any game is going to be a tough result, but I think you can take a little bit of confidence now to say that we didn't win against Arsenal, but let's give it some in the next one. Arsenal have got Cardiff in the next game. That's not going to be the easiest games, but I think it will be, actually, to be fair, because Cardiff hasn't exactly had a great start. What, they 0-0 the other day, so we've just got 3 points, so now we can kind of hopefully get another result and see Emery's tactics come into fruition, really. But in terms of tonight, there's obviously a good game on that we can come to later, which is obviously Man United Tottenham. But first, before we come to that, I want to just mention about Newcastle Chelsea.
Yeah.
And that was a good game. But before we talk about the game, Rafael Benitez, it's been in the sort of the headlines, if you like, and before the game started, Newcastle Chelsea, everyone was talking about, the fans were in particular, if Benitez was to go, that would be a backward step for Newcastle, and it certainly would be. I personally think with Benitez, for starters, he's done great at Newcastle. He's incredible. I mean, obviously, when he came in quite late when they got relegated, and then brought them back up, won the Championship, and then last season finished 10th. Fantastic result. And let's be honest, Mike Ashley has not given any of the managers any financial backing, has he? But Benitez tactics has kind of brought them to that level. And he's given Newcastle a bit of spark again. Let's face it, Newcastle, back in the day when Bobby Robson was there, was kind of like a top 4 team, if you like, Champions League, and didn't win trophies, but looked like a good squad. And I see Newcastle, for me, whether they deserve to be or not, I see them as a team that I'd like to see challenging for top 4, being at the top. Just like I see other teams like Leeds in the Championship. And they were in League One at one point as well. I didn't want that. For me, that was disgusting. That's not Leeds. I'm no Leeds fan, but there is that soft spot when you've got the history of Brian Clough when he didn't have a very good record at Leeds, but Don Revie did really well at Leeds, and then you look at David O'Leary, how good that team was. And it's the same principle with Newcastle and obviously Nottingham Forest. So. I don't want to see them as a team that gets relegated or declines. But what Benitez has done is he's given them fresh energy and given them a spark again. But he can only take them so far now, without that financial backing. I mean, what's your thought?
Yeah, no, I completely agree with every word you've said there. I think Mike Ashley, this isn't new with Mike Ashley. He's been there for, 10 years has he been there now? And as you rightly say, hasn't backed any of the managers really. They haven't had a particularly successful time with it. They've been relegated twice. They've hardly been in the top 10 at all. And it's a bit of a miracle really that Benitez got them into the top 10 because the squad is just not. Is their squad the 10th best in the league? No, not at all. So it's amazing that he got them there, but for them to get anywhere near that this season is going to be a real struggle. Because of the lack of investment again in the summer, even though Ashley has promised there's more funds, just hasn't arrived, has it? No. There's been talk of a takeover, what it was last season. That didn't happen. Is Ashley actually that bothered about selling the club? Seems just milking the TV money, and nothing's really happening, is it? It's not being invested on the pitch. So what else is it being invested on? So.
It's a good earner for him, isn't it?
I think Sports Direct probably done the right out of it, but he's been there a long time now, and having it progressed under him, surely he should get the passion of Newcastle by now. If he doesn't get it by now, he'll never get it. We went there for the weekend earlier this year. We went on a tour at St James's Park.
Lovely stadium.
And you could sense the passion, even just walking through the city centre of Newcastle United and what it means to the city. If you can't get it in 10 years, you're never going to get it, are you? So he just doesn't get it, does he, Mike Ashley, at all? He's just an example of an unambitious owner, isn't he? Not really bothered about challenging, just wants to stay in the league, and that's it. It's a real shame because Newcastle, with the crowd and the historic players they've had over the years, they should be aiming to get in the top 6 every year. Again, no club has got the right to it, but they shouldn't be struggling just to stay in the Premier League, and that's it. It's just it's a shame, really, isn't it?
Absolutely, and I've said on that really. I just if they lose Benitez, I wouldn't blame him. No. If he decided to go.
I'm surprised he's still there.
Yeah. But I'd like, it's great to see for Newcastle fans, I suppose, a manager like that giving it some. And let's face it, Benitez could go to a much higher club, but he's committed to Newcastle at the moment. But he'll only stay so long if he's not getting the backing upstairs.
Yeah,
which is only fair. But back to the game. So, what was your thoughts then, Newcastle-Chelsea?
Yeah, I think Chelsea deserved it overall. I think it's just a shame for Newcastle that Benitez set Newcastle up so defensively. Even though Newcastle got a pretty good record over Chelsea at St James's the last 4 or 5 seasons, he didn't really go for it. He played 5 at the back. It was a 5-4-1, and it was just defensive waiting for something to happen. It's a shame, really, because St James's Park, every tackle that goes in, every good moment going forward, they get a big cheer. So, and the crowd couldn't really feed off anything the players were doing because it was just so defensive, wasn't it? I think Chelsea played well. In their midfield, Kante and Jorginho and Kovacic, who made his full debut. He's on loan from Real Madrid. I think they played well in midfield. Hazard looked a real threat. He looks back on it after his World Cup and his sort of extended break, you could say. I think in the end Chelsea deserved it, but it's a shame really that Newcastle didn't make more of a game of it.
Yeah, definitely. I think, the shift of power was when Hazard scored that penalty. That's when Chelsea really kind of started to dominate.
Do you think it should have been a penalty?
Well, again, that's where VAR would come in and they would look at that, wouldn't they, and kind of define it. Whereas at the moment, no, it shouldn't have been a penalty. What's your thoughts on that?
Yeah, it's one of those really. I think he got the ball, but then again the tackle was from behind.
And VAR would back that up, wouldn't it?
I think it was harsh. I think it was harsh. It wasn't a proper stonewall penalty in my eyes. So I think it was a bit harsh. Good penalty though.
Yeah.
But I think it was a bit harsh.
And then, Newcastle's goal.
That'd be more disappointing. Not the decision of the penalty, but the Chelsea's defending for Newcastle's equaliser. Just you were taught at a young age, 7, 8 years old, when you play youth football, play to the whistle.
Yeah, definitely.
And Chelsea just didn't do it. They completely switched off. It looked like it was a foul on Olivier Giroud. Probably should have been a foul, but wasn't given by the officials. You play on.
You continue.
And Chelsea just stayed still.
And what was David Luiz doing?
Yeah, Luiz was at the near post, just stood still, and Hoslu just runs in front of him. It was a good header, to be fair, at the near post, but he just stood still, and Hoslu just ran in front of him and then just headed it in.
Yeah.
So, proper schoolboy defending, wasn't it?
A good header, though.
Was a good header, but no, shouldn't have been allowed to get a header, really. Should he? So it's good on Newcastle come back, but unfortunately, Yedlin, he put the ball in for the equaliser. Unfortunately, he scored an own goal, but it was a good play by Alonso in a penalty area, wasn't it? So, I think Chelsea in the end got the result they deserved. So 3 wins from 3 for them. Good start for Sarri, isn't it?
Absolutely, and I think everyone was writing Chelsea off. We kind of were in a way with our preview. And don't get me wrong, your opinion might still be the same, but mine does sort of change on a weekly basis. And I think, I predicted Chelsea to maybe finish 5th or 6th. Yeah. But the way that, let's be honest, it's 3 games in, things can change. But they've started with some momentum, and I think they will make top 4. I think there's more chance Chelsea will make top 4 than Arsenal.
Yeah, but as you say, it's only 3 games in. I think Arsenal were due to get better and go on a run. I think Chelsea, they've done well so far, but again, it's only 3 games in. So it's I'm not going to change my mind just yet. After 10, 12 games, you've got a better idea of what's likely to happen. So it's just still incredibly early. Yeah, but they've done well under Sarri so far. Been impressed with the way they've kept the ball, and they seem to be more attacking than they were under Antonio Conte. But still early days. There's still challenges for them to face yet.
Absolutely. But that brings us to a game tonight to talk about. Man United versus Tottenham. So I think the pressure's on for Mourinho this year. We were saying he's, not necessarily to win the league. I mean, there are fans that are going to think we should win the league this year. United fans, but
Imdad being one of them.
Yeah, kind of thinks they will win the league. Sorry, Imdad. But I think what they need to see is that they're actually challenging.
Yeah.
Or winning a trophy, and Although, having said that, they got to the FA Cup final last year, but they still didn't show, any kind of strength, in my opinion.
Yeah, but it wasn't like a proper title challenge. They finished second, but they were way off City. So
Absolutely.
they need to try and just get closer to winning the league.
And you could argue this could be Mourinho's last season if it's not a successful season. So this is going to be probably one of his first big games, if you like.
Yeah.
And Tottenham have had a good start to the season.
Yeah. Yeah, there's always good games, Man United Tottenham. I'm expecting a reaction from United tonight because they were very poor all over the pitch against Brighton. I know there's been focus on buying Lindelof. They didn't play very well, but just all over the pitch, they didn't offer a threat, especially in the second half, where I expected United to, show some steel and show some attacking power, but didn't create anything really, did they?
No.
It was only a penalty that they scored from in the second half, but they're just very poor, weren't they? So I'm expecting a big reaction. I'm expecting the crowd to get behind the team. Mourinho, when the chips are down, he always comes out fighting, doesn't he? Not just with his words, but his team on the pitch as well. So I'm expecting United to bounce back, really.
Yeah, I think my prediction is it's going to be 2-1 United.
Yeah.
I don't like both teams, to be fair, but 2-1 United, and I think Tottenham will go 1-0 up, and it might be 1-0 at half time or early in the second half, and then that will kind of put a little rocket up, United players, and then they'll come back and win 2-1. You never know. It's all on the day, but that's my prediction.
Yeah, I think if this game was at Wembley or White Hart Lane, I think I'd fancy Spurs, just like last season. They just dominated United at Wembley, didn't they? But at Old Trafford, they still haven't got a great record there. So I'm expecting United to come out fighting and get a result. But Tottenham have got a great squad, haven't they? They've got a very good team, so they've got to a good start, as you say. So they'll be wanting to get a win or even just get a draw tonight to keep their momentum going. So I'm expecting a few goals. There always seems to be a few goals between these two sides, so it should be a good one, I think. What do you make of the comments made by Gary Neville and Jamie Carragher about whether Mourinho should have been backed more in the summer and things like that? What do you reckon about that?
I think he should have been backed a bit more, really. I think this whole manager role, if you like, is changing now, isn't it?
Well, you even said that, didn't you?
Yeah, Mourinho's not necessarily a head coach, is he?
Yeah.
Let's be honest.
Yeah.
He is the manager, and he's admitting that that's a shift of power now. So I think that's out of his control. But yes, he probably needed a bit more backing, and I think he even admitted himself he wanted some more signings.
Yeah, I think I do need more defenders, but to be fair, he's still playing Antonio Valencia and Ashley Young. They've been there since Alex Ferguson was there, and also buying Lindelof, Mourinho bought them. So it's not like he's not. Hasn't not bought any centre backs. He's bought two in, and they cost about 30 million each. So I think by I know he was poor against Brighton, but I think on the whole he's been pretty decent for United. But he's just been injured a lot, so I think he'll be their first choice going forward. But I think that Mourinho probably should have got a little bit more money. But he spent a lot of money already, hasn't he? So I don't think investment's really an excuse for him, to be honest. But then again, if you get Mourinho in, he's not really going to coach youngsters and make them better, is he? He wants players who are in their prime, ready to succeed now, isn't he? So, if you didn't want to back Mourinho, you shouldn't have either hired him in the first place, or you shouldn't have given him a new contract earlier this year, should you? So, I think Ed Woodward and the board, they need to make their mind up. Either get rid of him, or back him, and see what happens.
Good point. Yeah, can't argue with that, sir. But I think it's going to be an interesting game tonight.
Yeah, I think I'll agree with you. I think it'll be 2-1 United. I think.
Do you?
Yeah, I think so. I think I'm expecting a reaction, as I say. But yeah, you just never know, especially with Tottenham. Back in the day, Tottenham, well, Sir Alex Ferguson famously said, didn't he, lads, it's Tottenham. But that's not the case anymore, is it, with Spurs? So, no, it should be a good game, albeit I think United will just slightly have the edge.
Have the edge. Well, we'll see what happens. But it's been a good weekend.
Yeah, it's been a good weekend's action. Is the next week.
Look forward to it.
Yep.
So thanks again for watching. Please subscribe and follow us on Twitter. We're at garage_football.
Thank you.
Take care.
Cheers.